All right, today we're tackling something pretty big, the 8 levels of agentic engineering. Think of it as a roadmap for getting really good at using AI to build software. So let's get into it. So here's a question a lot of people are asking. We've got these incredible AI models, right? But why isn't every developer suddenly 10 times faster? You see one team ship a whole product in like 10 days using the exact same AI that has another team totally stuck. What gives?
Well, the difference, it turns out, is this gap. It's the space between what these AI tools can do, their raw capability, and how we're actually using them day to day. And if you want to unlock that insane productivity, you've got to close that gap.
And that's exactly what this framework is for. It's a clear 8 level progression. Think of it like leveling up in a video game, but for your engineering skills. It's a roadmap to systematically close that gap and really master these tools.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning with the foundation. These are levels 1 and 2, which honestly most of you are probably already familiar with.
So, level 1, that was basically tab complete. The early days of Copilot. Super simple, but it worked. Then we hit level 2, the Agent IDE. This is where tools like Cursor came in, integrating AI chat right into your editor. Suddenly, multi-file edits got way, way easier. But there was always one huge limitation: context. The AI could only really help you with the code it could see in the files you had open. All right, now we're getting to the first major turning point. This is where things get really interesting. Levels 3 and 4 are all about moving past one-off fixes and starting to create real, compounding, long-term value.
So that brings us to level 3, which is called context engineering. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's this whole practice of packing the most useful information possible into the smallest, densest prompt you can. It's all about maximizing the signal and just cutting out all the noise.
Yeah, there's this mantra for level 3 that I just love. It's every token needs to fight for its place in the prompt. You become absolutely ruthless about what you feed the AI. You're constantly asking, does this line of code, this file, this piece of context actually help? If the answer's no, you get rid of it. Okay, and this is super important. The difference between level 3 and level 4 is massive. Level 3, context engineering, makes your current session better, right now. But level 4, compounding engineering, that's about building systems that make every single future session better. It's a total game changer. And how do you do that? Through this 4-step loop. First, you plan the task. Then, you delegate it to the AI. You assess the output it gives you. And then, and this is the magic part, you codify what you learned. You don't just fix it and move on. You update a rules file, or you add to some internal documentation, so that lesson is baked into the system forever. That's how its value compounds over time. Okay, let's move into the next phase. This is where the focus really shifts from you helping the AI to the AI starting to gain some real autonomy. At level 5, we're solving for capability. You give your agent skills. What does that mean? It means giving it the ability to actually do things in the real world. It can create your database, it can hit your APIs, it can run browser tests. It's not just a code writer anymore, it's an actor. It can take action.
Now, this has a pretty wild implication. Think about it. As these agents start pumping out code at a massive scale, what becomes the bottleneck? Us, the humans doing the code review. And that leads to this pretty provocative idea that code review, as we know it, is dead. The old school manual pull request review just can't keep up. It's got to be replaced by automated, skill-driven review systems.
And all of that leads us right into level 6, harness engineering. Now, this isn't just about giving an agent a tool. No, this is about building the entire system around it. The sandboxed environment, the guardrails, the feedback loops, the whole shebang that lets an agent do reliable work safely without you having to babysit it. A really key insight at this level is this shift from giving instructions to setting constraints. If you tell an agent a step-by-step plan, it's brittle. It'll get fixated on that list and won't adapt. It's so much more robust to just define the boundaries of what it can do and the tests it absolutely must pass. You give it the goal, you give it the guardrails, and then you let it figure out the best path on its own.
So what's the mechanism that makes all this possible? It's something called back pressure. Think of these as all the automated feedback loops you might already have. Things like type systems, linters, unit tests, security boundaries, pre-commit hooks. They automatically push back when the agent messes up, which lets it detect its own mistakes and, crucially, correct them, all without you having to step in.
And once you have that solid harness in place, you unlock level 7, background agents. And honestly, this is a massive leap in how you work. You're no longer the one juggling a dozen tasks in different tabs. You're now delegating really complex work that just happens. It runs in the background, asynchronously, while you focus on the next big thing.
Now, a really critical practice at this level is what's called the reviewer principle. And it's simple. You never let the same AI instance that wrote the code also be the one to review it. Why? Well, because it's biased. It's like letting a student grade their own exam. Of course they'll give themselves an A. So you have one agent be the implementer, and a totally separate agent, maybe even a different model, act as the reviewer.
Okay, so finally, let's look at the cutting edge, the real frontier of where all of this stuff is headed. Level 8 is pretty much where we are right now, today, autonomous agent teams. This is still the super experimental phase. We're talking about multiple agents working together on a shared code base, coordinating directly with each other, not through a human or some central brain. Nobody has totally cracked this yet, but this is where all the most exciting research is happening.
And what's beyond that? Well, the interface itself is probably going to change. We could be moving away from typing into a terminal and toward having a seamless voice-to-voice conversation with our AI engineering team. Just imagine describing the changes you want out loud and then watching them happen in real time.
So, there you have it. This framework gives you a really clear path forward, all the way from simple autocomplete to actually orchestrating teams of autonomous agents. So, the real question for you is, what level are you on right now? And more importantly, what's the next step you're going to take to level up?